Dr. Gloria is a clinical psychologist, author, playwright, screenwriter, and cultural broker.
Welcome to A Brand New Me with Dr. Gloria. I think we can all agree that this year has been quite stressful. The health, social injustice, economic, and political pandemics have heightened the stress level for all age groups, causing some to experience stress-related mental and physical distress. While stress is a normal part of life, excessive stress can negatively impact your mental, physical, and spiritual health. Stress can cause your immune system to be compromised, making it difficult for your body to fight against diseases. Therefore, learning how to manage stress is essential in your journey of becoming brand new. My guests will discuss strategies for managing stress.
Charlie Jordan Brookins, president of Thru Faith, author and certified health coach, personal fitness trainer, and former television and film executive. And Dr. Anita Hadpawat-Lee, a board-certified obstetrician and gynecologist.
Well, welcome to A Brand New Me with Dr. Gloria. I am so excited about this episode because I have two wonderful women who are going to share some things to help us all with what I'm sure we've all been dealing with, stress. And so I am welcoming Charlie Brookins and Dr. Anita Hadpawat, who is an OBGYN doctor, and we're going to just kind of chop it up and talk about stress and how we can manage it, because people know we have it, but we don't know how to manage it very well. So I would like for us to talk first to Charlie about what you're doing to help us with stress by helping us to make better choices.
Yeah, well, for me and what I do as a health coach and a personal fitness trainer and as the founder of my company, Thru Faith, is really, it's about that intersection of faith, food, and fitness. And that intersection of faith, food, and fitness is actually super important for stress as well. Mm-hmm. And I have my stress less system, you call it an SLS. And it's really, kind of 5 different things to do. I think it begins with waking up. Right? It begins with your morning mindset, your morning ritual. Because oftentimes we carry stress with us to bed, and then we wake up with it and we don't do anything with it, and it continues to spiral. So the first thing is making sure in that morning that you connect and that you have your mindset in a place where it's a new day. Right? Mm-hmm. We know there are new mercies. Yes. So we have to wake up with excitement for the day, but make sure that we begin to manage our stress. We need to breathe. We need to, again, accept the newness of the day. And if you have a morning ritual, that's great because you want to keep it organized. You want to keep it routine. Mine is wake up, worship, drink that water, write a few things down, my affirmations, and then get a walk or workout in. So that's my 5 at 5 ritual. It doesn't matter what it is, but if we can maintain that ritual of just beginning to get our day started in a place where stress can be reduced. So that's kind of the first step. The second step is managing your blood sugar, right? Because we know when cortisol is in our body, that glucose is in our body, which is sugar. And so we have to figure out a way, if we're overstressed and we have a lot of extra sugar in our blood, and then if we eat added sugar, and if we eat refined carbohydrates, that's even more sugar in our body, which again sends us on that roller coaster, which you know so much about because we've had those conversations.
Yes.
So managing our blood sugar begins with VP3. It begins with vegetables. You want to power up those plant-based foods. You want to add in a little protein. You want to, like, if you think about your plate, half vegetables, half protein, and then fiber, fat, and fruit. if you can think about those having that BP3 every 3 hours, then the fiber and the protein are long digesting. So that again helps stabilize our blood sugar, which keeps us from craving that sugar that stress brings. So we have had our morning mindset, we have managed our blood sugar. And then the third thing is that we want to move, right? That's that faith, food, and fitness piece. We want to make sure that we're moving periodically throughout the day. You know, the government says at least 30 minutes a day, but it's not just one time, right? We want to have a mindset of movement throughout the day. We want to be intentional, I just made that word up, intentional about our movement throughout the day. And then at the end, we want to release, we want to rest and relax. So we want to make sure that we've released the day. We want to make sure that we have reset, and then we want to sleep. We need to get those 7 to 9 hours of sleep. So that's a great way, you know, again, that's my SLS system. When you combine morning mindset, managing that blood sugar, moving, and then making sure we release, we reset, and we rest.
Oh, that's good stuff. Now, from someone who really loves sugar, you know, I mean, I have a love affair with sugar. I will be honest to say that. Who's breaking herself from that habit. What can you tell people who just say, I've got to have a little something sweet? What can people have to make them feel like they're getting some of what they are craving?
Well, and that's why I always talk about God's buffet and man's buffet. You know, so our bodies were actually made to crave sweet because sweet is an energy source. But the sweet that we were built to crave is not what man has made for us, right? God gave us sweet vegetables and sweet fruit. And so there's a lot of sweetness, you know, in our diets, but then man comes in and goes into a lab and creates all of these added super sweet, hyper palatable foods,
ice
that
cream,
continue to increase our cravings. So the more that we eat that ultra processed food, that ultra processed sweet food, those added sugar, our taste buds are out of whack. Our taste buds have been hijacked. So the big thing is to get back to the sweets that we were actually created to crave and created to eat. And that's going to be the fruits and the sweet vegetables, which may not sound as fun, but when you do take all of the man-made processed stuff out, your taste buds can reset and your brain can reset. And you can actually make some really yummy things just with adding applesauce or frozen fruit. You can use those even in baked goods. There's lots of ways that you can use food that was created for your body that will still get that sweet craving, but in a way that doesn't send you on that sugar roller coaster and still taste good.
Yeah, that's great. And then you mentioned releasing. What are some ways that you release? Because I think people would love to know some strategies for just letting it go, the cares of the day. How do we do that?
Yes, well, I mean, the first one, obviously, you know, there's always prayer and meditation, whatever your spiritual belief. That mind rest is so important. So whether you go to the Word, whether you just literally, you know, go into a meditation and let your mind go, that's one thing. Stretching is also wonderful because your body has all this pent up, you know, energy and stress in our bodies and our bones. And so, you know, some people might choose yoga. Some people might just choose, you know, just to stretch their major limbs. That's very important. Essential oils are wonderful. Taking a bath with Epsom salts is wonderful. And sometimes you need to write down what you did, how you won the day, you know, not just a to-do list, but write down your done list. Write down those things that you completed so that you can feel accomplished. And then you might want to write down a few things that you need to do tomorrow. But oftentimes at the end of the day, all we think about is all the things we didn't do versus celebrating the things that we did do so that we can write those down, write down the things you need to do tomorrow, take that bath, have some tea, and lay down and turn off the phone, and turn off the computer, turn off all of that blue light. So again, your body can really rest and relax.
Oh, that's such good advice. Thank you. And I'm going to switch over to Dr. Anita to talk about, you know, some of the stress-related issues for women who are pregnant and, you know, and how can we get our mothers to be healthier and to release some of the stress. So thank you for being here with us. We're ready to hear from you.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. So there is so much information that stress in pregnancy leads to poor fetal outcomes, poor maternal outcomes. But on top of that, there's a lot of information that pregnancy is the most stressful time you can be in, right? So there's a lot of financial pressures, there's work pressures, you feel ill, right? You feel ill, you're tired, you're nauseous, you're vomiting. However, you still have to go to work, you still have to take care of the kids. Especially now, there's all this fear about what the pandemic is going to do in addition to the financial stress. And so we know that number one, maternal stress, so prenatal stress in the prenatal period and whatever you brought with you into the prenatal period is associated with higher risk of having diabetes in pregnancy, high blood pressure in pregnancy, but more importantly, long-term. So long-term risk. So even if the pregnancy is over, that stress can stay with you. So the risk of high blood pressure, even when you're not pregnant, diabetes when you're not pregnant. And then the effects on the fetus are, there's even more evidence that some of that stress can continue up until 5 years. So for example, in where there's natural disasters and, similar to what we're going through right now, that some of that natural disaster can affect the development of the fetus up until 5.5 years, 5.5 to 6 years.
Wow.
And that's something that we don't really spend a lot of time talking about in our very quick 15-minute visits.
Oh my goodness, that's so powerful. And Dr. Anita and I work together, and she routinely refers people to see me who are experiencing a lot of that stress because we are dealing with integrative care for our patients. And so if they are coming for her to take care of their prenatal needs and she discovers that they are not doing well, then she sends them to me. And I think therapy is very important for people who feel like they're just out of control with the stress level. Because we know right now that our immune systems are going to be really compromised because of excess stress. And we know that COVID-19, even though we're close to the end of the year, COVID-19 is still with us, and it's going to be very difficult for people to survive it if their immune systems are compromised. So I really appreciate you ladies talking about that. And speaking of that, I want to ask about, from either one of you can address this, but what do we tell young people? Because we always think about stress and adults and older people, but our young folks are under a lot of stress. This year they had to do a different format for school. Even our college students are struggling. So, what are some things that, we can do to help young people who may be dealing with stress?
Well, I mean, I can certainly speak to, I have a 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, and I hear from them, especially the 13-year-old. I'm stressed, and I hear from the kids' friends that they're stressed. Specifically in this time that we're in right now with the lack of social connections, as well as the pressure of learning technology that's not working for them, when they're trying to work, not being able to get into a class, and then having formats change, where choir used to be, you just go sing. Now you have to do research projects for choir, and so everything has changed, and the stress level, and I can actually hear it in his voice when he says, I'm stressed, and I see it in his body. And I think that one thing I think we've all needed to learn during this new normal is that we have to accept it as a new normal. We can't be perfect during this time. We can't put that extra pressure on that, as a mother, that I have to be the perfect teacher, the perfect choir director, the perfect baseball trainer, the perfect gymnast trainer, all the things that my kids are involved in that all of a sudden became online. I'm not equipped for that. And I had to let some of that go. It's not going to be perfect. And that's also what I kind of tell the boys is all we can do is our best. But one of the great things is that we write stuff down, that we schedule things. And then when things don't work, we take a break. We need to get up. We need to go outside. And I think that, it's one of those special times that the more that we can have conversations, for sure, but schedule breaks.
Yes.
Lots of breaks, lots of water.
Yes.
To help them understand, because I have an 8th grader who's whose 8th grade year is now kind of thrown up, in a different direction. And, applying to high schools is totally different because we can't even get on the campuses.
Right.
So it's all of that added, but it is a new normal, and it's also kind of a part of life. But they're getting those resiliency skills early, but we're kind of looking at it like that. And so the more we release and the more we get outside and get a little bit of space and move has been helpful.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially also as we're going through, to really try to be an example. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. And it was really nice to be able to go to work sometimes and just know that everybody is going through the same thing. But then also, so when I am kind of going through that and I'm starting to notice that I'm stressed about dinner and homework being done and my own work, is to have everybody just take a step back and just say, it's okay. Like, it's okay if we don't finish everything. We will be fine. We will do it tomorrow, but we'll go for a walk. We'll go outside. The social part is such a big deal because that's, so much, especially for women, that's a lot of what we get for support is really social. And so when you take that away, it becomes really hard. But at the same time, it's kind of nice. I don't know if you find it with your 13-year-old and your 9-year-old, but it's kind of nice. I spent a lot more time talking, talking things out than I have before.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
And I would even say, as moms, one thing that we've done is, we have a weekly Zoom chat, just with the moms in my 13-year-old's grade, just to whatever it's called. We call it, Mama's Happy Hour. So bring a glass of whatever and whatever's on your mind. Sometimes we talk about school stuff. Sometimes we talk about what TV shows you're watching. But it's a safe space to share, because this is definitely a time where you don't want to keep things in, right? When you're feeling things, you need an outlet, you need a safe place. And so providing those for your social circle when you can't meet in person also is great, so that it doesn't bottle up here as stress, but you're able to talk about it.
You're right. And I've even asked people to write down 3 words that describe how they're feeling right now, just so people can start getting things out, because we know that stress gets built up because we internalize so much. And so people are hurting, but they're not talking about it. They're just kind of internalizing it because some of their social support outlets are no longer available because of COVID-19. So, sometimes we just sit down with our kids and say, I know there's a lot going on right now. Well, what are the 3 words that come to your mind that describe how you feel right now? And at least you get it out. They start, talking about things that they're feeling. And then that helps to lessen the stress. So I just think we are so blessed to have you 2 ladies with us. And I know Dr. Anita is on vacation, and you came on with us. I so appreciate you. We know that what you both do is so important for people's health. And so in the last little words we'll say today, I want each of you to just share with our viewers just one word of encouragement you'd like to say to them. And Charlie, you can say something regarding, just the adult or the child who might be dealing with stress. But Dr. Anita, I want you to talk to a pregnant mother out here, who's got all this stress. So what can you all say to our viewers?
Well, I think the one word that I use often is breathe. We get so tight, and even in traffic, there's the COVID, and then there are all these situations. And when you start to feel that, breathe in and release.
Yeah.
Deep inhale and deep exhale, because it actually has a physiological impact, but it also just has a release impact. So my one word would be breathe.
I love it.
I'm going to cheat. Mine's 2 words. No, it's okay, because I think that we've really made people expressing that they're stressed a very judgment. We put a lot of judgment on women, especially when they're pregnant. They're supposed to be happy. They're so lucky. And it's okay to be stressed. It's okay to be overwhelmed. And I think especially in medicine, we've made it so that that's something that is not considered a medical issue that you talk about, right? It's supposed to be that you're supposed to do tests and you're supposed to find things, but it's not. But just to tell women, like, it's okay if that's what you're talking to me about, because that completely affects your health. And in pregnancy, we really haven't done a great job at not only acknowledging that it's very stressful, but also teaching people how to be okay with it. So for me, it would be, it's okay.
That's
Okay.
good. And to know that a little stress is normal, that we're going to have a little stress. There's no way in the world we could go through what we've been through this year and not have a little stress. But to know that if you have too much stress, that it's going to affect your body and your mind and even your spirit. Well, thank you, ladies, Charlie Brookins and Dr. Anita Hadpawat. Thank you so much for joining me today. We know that this has really helped some people who are trying to learn how to cope with stress and manage it in their lives. We'll never get rid of it, so we have to learn how to manage it. So thank you so much for being here. And you all keep doing the great work you're doing, because we need you. All right. Bye, ladies.
Hi, Dr. Gloria. This is Sharon in Burbank, California. I'd like to know what tools I can use to manage the additional stress that worrying about COVID-19 brings. With everything else we have to worry about day to day, this additional stress is magnifying all of it. So anything you can offer as far as a suggested way to deal with it long term would be greatly appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your question, Sharon. And I want to let you know that everybody is feeling like you're feeling. And one of the ways we can manage the stress is to find ways to see the positive out of this very chaotic time. You know, when you are able to see positivity during this time, it will help you to be able to get through it much better. But also practice mindfulness. Find a place for you to relax where you can just breathe and just let yourself change your attitude through relaxing. And I believe you're going to feel much better. Remember, practice mindfulness, which suggests that if I focus on the past, I'm going to be more depressed. If I focus on the future, I'll be much more anxious. But if I focus on the here and now, I'll be in a place of peace. Thank you again for your question. Thank you for watching another episode of A Brand New Me with Dr. Gloria. I hope that you have learned something about stress that will help you during this very difficult season. But know this, I love you, and there is nothing you can do about it.
Perhaps you've seen something in this episode that has caused you to want to dig deeper, ask more questions, get more answers. Well, you can always ask Dr. Gloria by sending a video question to brandnewmewithdrgloria@gmail.com.